so thank you. Our next speaker is really familiar as well with Fenn, and obviously he too is an alumnus, Josh Harnden. His mom is Mrs. Sterencier, and his stepdad is Mr. Sterencier. Has two brothers as well who went to Fenn school. Josh Harnden, after graduating from Fenn, went on to Phillips Andover Academy, and then on to Princeton, and then, over time, headed to Hollywood, and got really involved in reality TV. And he and his wife, Ashley, started a production company out of their garage. A lot of things, very successful things in life started in garages. And is now pursuing his master's degree at Alumni College in writing. And he is writing a novel about his experiences in reality TV. So I'll turn it over to Josh.
So as Jerry said, my name is Josh, and my mother is Kathy Sterencier, my stepdad is Bob, and I have two older brothers who also went to Fenn. I've known since I was a really young boy that I wanted to be a storyteller. I even have it in writing. You might wonder why I had this instinct. You might think that it's because being born in Concord has such a rich literary history. But I actually have a different, very specific memory of why I wanted to be a storyteller. I remember driving past the Concord prison, and when you're a kid, you don't always understand everything. I thought that if I didn't buckle up, they might just take me and throw me right in prison. And I remember feeling like if that did happen to me, as long as I was a storyteller, I could entertain myself. And I tell you this today because I think it tells us something important about the role that stories play in our lives. Stories, in a way, sort of take care of us. And when we're a kid, our parents read us stories, and it helps us understand the world. It gives us a world we can understand. Here I am at Fenn, on the left. I did a lot of good writing at Fenn. Got some really good encouragement. This is a paper I wrote for Mr. Albright's class. This is a poem I wrote for Mr. Shear's class. I was lucky enough to go to Andover, and from there, thanks to the study skills I learned here at Fenn, I was able to go to Princeton, where I was an English major. So I knew I wanted to be a storyteller, but I wasn't quite sure how that would manifest, how I would make a living doing that. Ultimately, I made my way out to Hollywood, which is sort of a notorious choice for an artist to make, and there's more on that coming up. I ultimately was lucky enough, thanks to a friend I had made in Andover, to work on a show called The Hills, which is an MTV show that ran for 6 seasons between 2006 and 2011. When the show came to an end, we wanted to do something special for the fans in our finale episode, and it was a reality TV show, which meant it was unscripted, but we constructed the show to look like it was scripted because we wanted to have a heightened element of drama. So for the final sequence of the show, we did a little, not a trick, but we did a little sequence that we thought would be fun for the fans. So we shot this scene on a Paramount studio lot. And it was the only scene we ever shot on the lot. And the reason we did that was because we wanted to play with the idea that this was a non-scripted show that had been made to look scripted. And when that episode aired, we had a big party at the Hotel Roosevelt in Hollywood. And I got a chance to, these are some of our cast members, and I got a chance to interact with some of the fans and to ask them, well, what did you think of our great ending? And I distinctly remember speaking to one girl, and she said, oh, I thought the ending was sad. And so here we had done this sort of intellectual ending, and she only received it on an emotional level. And what that told me is that watching television is really a very passive experience. When you're watching TV, you're not necessarily likely to engage your higher thought. Maybe you just respond to it on an emotional level. When I was here at Fenn in 1993, I began to learn how to be a critical thinker, which many of you are doing. But not everybody is so lucky as you. Not everybody gets a chance to learn how to be a critical thinker. That's what I learned from interacting with the fans of our show. In life, you're going to have a lot of difficult decisions to make. What you watch, what you want to do. I could even argue that it's more complicated now than it's ever been to understand how to make these decisions. This is a book from 1949 by Raymond Chandler called The Little Sister. And in that book, Raymond Chandler illuminates something using his character Philip Marlowe. Philip Marlowe gets a chance to ask a studio executive, a big head of a movie company. He says, what is the key to the movie business? And what does this guy say? Does he say good storytelling? Does he say good acting is the key to running a successful movie business? No, he says theaters. Just give me 1,500 theaters. And what's the takeaway there? The takeaway there is that whatever they put on the theaters, people will show up and pay the money to see those movies. Some of you may have seen this movie, Field of Dreams. If you haven't, I recommend it. It's a movie where James Earl Jones famously said, if you build it, they will come. And what I want to tell you today is that that's true, and this is a nice idea when they wanted to build a baseball park and people would come out and watch baseball. But the same is also true when it's not such a nice idea. If you build a violent video game, people will come. If you build a movie that makes a mockery of history, people will come. And Hollywood has a long tradition of doing that. So I'm here today to ask you, what will you build? Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of our Concord legends, said, every spirit builds itself a house. So I'll ask you again, what will you build? Being Fenn students, you will have opportunities. You're lucky to be here. So what will you build? I'm here because in 1993 I made the sua sponte promise to myself. And it's for that reason that I decided to go back to school and get my master's degree. And it's for that reason that I started my own production company with my wife. And it's for that reason that I'm here to say to you, sua sponte.
So our final speaker today is Tyler Andrews, someone that I remember well as a student here. We often make announcements here at all school meetings.